Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 158 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, keeping my fingers crossed because I just did another live stream and it didn't work until about the third time I logged on, so hopefully we'll be okay with this one. I'm just going to go onto the tablet in the usual way and make sure that everything is coming through. Please feel free to send comments. First comment again today goes to Audrey, says yes, looking forward to this one. Now you can see from the title of the video, from the description of the video, that today we're going to be talking about this particular classic scent from 1978, Estee Lauder's White Linen, legendary white linen, composed by the even more legendary Sophia Grojsman. So start sending me some of your thoughts on white linen, maybe on Estee Lauder in general, maybe on Sophia Grojsman's work. Angela says, hi everyone, what a classic, absolutely. Lisbeth Cartier said this one is going to be interesting. Flaconet says hello again. I think my great-grandmother wore this. My only memory of this scent, says Yura. Wow. And is it a positive memory? Audrey says, has this one had a recent reformulation? How old is your bottle? Okay, well, has it had a recent reformulation? The only answer I can give you at the moment is I don't know. My bottle is by no means a vintage one. In fact, I'm not even sure exactly how old the original, what the original white linen bottle looked like. But this one of mine, good question. It's probably about, it's definitely no more than 5 years old. And it's probably more in the region of about sort of 3 years old. Speaking of Sophia Grojsman, says Eric, yes, go on. And Yura says the memory of the scent was very positive. Angela, it was the scent I bought for my first holiday abroad, and it was just perfect, fantastic. We've got to ask you then, where did you go? What was the holiday? Catty is back again saying hello. Okay, let us spray this and smell it as we chat. Real American classic, very important scent in many ways. And let's have a spray. So from 1978, Estee Lauder White Linen, composed, as I say, by Sophia Grojsman, who then went on to make, actually I think we pop it here because you can't really see it very well there, who then went on to make several more very, very important perfumes for the brand. Audrey says, I'm currently wearing Youth Dew. I love that one as well. Really, really love Lauder's Youth Dew. Have you ever tried the bath oil? I love it when Madame Persolaise uses the bath oil because it just fills the house completely with the scent of Youth Dew. Vintage class, Lulwa. Moo says, miss the first half hour. You can go back and watch it afterwards. It doesn't matter. This is going to be the more interesting half of the two episodes today, I think. Okay, so for the few of you who may not be aware, hi Tushara. White linen from Estee Lauder is, in terms of its structure, an aldehydic floral. I feel like I need to invest. Thank you for the suggestion, says Audrey. No, seriously, if you've never tried it, it's just so good. Oh, back to Angela's holiday. I want to know now. Only a package, try again. Only a package holiday to Magaluf when it wasn't as notorious. Now, so aldehydic floral, of course, immediately makes everybody think of Chanel No. 5. But if it makes you think of Chanel No. 22, which is currently in the exclusive range, then you would be closer to understanding how this one smells, because it's actually super aldehydic. And the aldehydes are just incredibly crisp and starched, which is why white linen, I think, was always such a genius name for this. I'd love to find out how it was named, why it was named white linen. You know, what came first? Did the idea come first? Did the perfume come first? And the florals, whereas in Chanel No. 5, of course, you famously have the sort of jasmine, rosy, lang-ylang combo, and in No. 22 as well to a certain extent, but the florals there are toned down in No. 22, and you have that more prominent incense note. Here, it's a much denser, more varied, more faceted floral bouquet of the sort that Grojsman was so good at. You know, when you think of perfumes like Estee Lauder's Beautiful, which is in many ways one of the ultimate floral bouquets, you get a sense of all of those different flowers here. You'd almost just sort of rattle off a long list and you'd be right, because if you said lily of the valley, freesia, lilac, hyacinth, you'd be right. They're all probably in here, and they create this symphonic effect, which is what she was so good at. And the aldehydes do a tremendous job of lifting them, sending them up into the heavens, which is just this feat that only aldehydes seem to be able to accomplish. But they never detract from the florals. I'm just smelling it now, sort of wondering whether it's aged or dated. I mean, yes, okay, I suppose it has to some extent, but it also still does feel so... I think it's the crispness that makes it feel quite modern still. Now, what's interesting about it is its historical context, its historical significance. Because now you smell it, and it actually comes across as quite large. It's not a wallflower. And yet the fact that it was so clean, massive reliance on musks in the base, of course. Sophia Grojsman really, really knew her musks well, or knows her musks well. The fact that it had this super clean feel actually set it apart from a lot of scents that were released round about that time. And this, I think, in comparison, felt quite demure, quite restrained, which almost feels impossible now, because this has got a huge sillage, and a lot of character, a lot of personality. So it's interesting how tastes and fashions change, and the reason why I also say that it's a really, really important achievement in American perfumery is because American perfumery was so often playing second fiddle to European perfumery, to French perfumery, and always felt like it was a sort of lesser sibling or a lesser cousin. But along came Youth Dew, which really put American perfumery on the map. And then, of course, we had Aromatics Elixir from Clinique. And this was massively important as well. We mustn't forget that Estee Lauder was considered to be, still is considered to be, but probably even more so in the past, a huge player in mainstream perfumery. I suppose maybe their releases have become a little bit safer in the way that so many mainstream releases have. But when you think of perfumes like, White Linen, Alliage, Pleasures, Beautiful, a little bit further along Beyond Paradise, I mean, these were major, major, major releases. And I guess this was the first of those sorts of major releases. Also, interestingly, I would urge you to go and read the Bois de Jasmin review of White Linen, because I can't remember whether it's actually written by Victoria Frolov. I'm pretty sure it is, because she says that White Linen originally came out as a trio of perfumes that were meant to be layered with each other, which I didn't know until, back in the day when I read the Bois de Jasmin review. The other two are gone. I can't even remember what they were called, but White Linen is still with us. So let's see what you're all saying about it, because this is always the bit when we do a classic scent that I enjoy the most. Here we go. Joanna says, I haven't tried it either, but the name has put me off, but I like Grojsman's other works. Interesting. Why? What about the name? Well, because you think it would just smell too sort of pure and bland and boring? Which I suppose you may think that from a name like White Linen. Flaconess, I really like number 22. I've never tried White Linen, but I definitely have to. Wow, I'm amazed. I didn't think there's anybody left that hasn't tried it. Ashwag says, my mum used to use rice starch for ironing cotton fabrics. Yes, and you can get starch spray still, can't you, for things that you want to press really well. Druba, glad to know you're covering all these older Estee Lauders. I would never have thought of trying them myself and didn't understand their importance, but I'm glad you give them context. I think they're great. I really, really think those high-profile Lauders were just wonderful. I mean, Beautiful we've talked about here as well. Sounds right up my street, says Tina. Elizabeth Carlier, sorry, I think I mispronounced your name earlier. White Linen always reminds me of something of a friend who did market research around perfume told me. Oh, Europeans want to smell like they've been in a forest, even though they haven't been to one in years. Americans want to smell clean, even though they haven't necessarily showered recently. That's fascinating. I knew the thing about the Americans, but the forest thing, that's interesting. I've never heard that before. Fascinating. Angela says, my second holiday in Greece started off with me spending over half of my spending money on perfume in duty free. Can you remember what you bought, Angela? And Jenik says, remember this was everywhere in the 80s, as Estee Lauder would include miniatures of white linen in its gift with purchase promotions. Always a clever strategy. Wonderful memories, beautiful scent. Love the flanker, pure white linen as well. Yes, that was good as well. I always prefer this one, but that was a good one. Still lots of people saying hello. Americans shower all the time, says Tina. I blind bought Estee Lauder wrappings a few nights ago. Have you ever tried it, says Audrey. Now, you're saying Estee Lauder wrappings. To me, that was always a Clinique scent. So has that been rebranded as an Estee Lauder scent? If it's the Clinique one we're talking about, then there is a review over on Persolaise.com, and I always used to rate that one quite highly, actually. Flaconess. I just read the story about layering with the other two. Thank you very much. Celadon and Pavilion. Somehow not very Lauder names, but anyway. Eric says, I forgot to ask you what your bottle's concentration is. I personally prefer the EDP, as the wonderful aldehydes are a bit muted in the parfum. Ah, good question. This is the EDP, the eau de parfum. I'm not sure I've ever smelt the parfum white linen. See, now there's something for me to try. Maria says, excited to catch you live best from Warsaw. Thank you very much for tuning in. Love Estee Lauder scents, says Yogo80. Private Collection is a favourite. Another good one. Also love Knowing. Yes, of course. Thank you very much. A really, really strong sheep. I loved sniffing the minis that my mum got. Fact checked by Mr. P. Americans don't shower regularly, says Ashfaq. Can we please get off that one? We're going to be offending an entire nation now. No offence to anybody intended, okay? Time to Musk Up says, I can't wear perfume if not on clean skin. Perfume on dirty skin smells like you're covering something up. I can tell when people do it. And Private Collection gets a big love smile from Eric Brandon. Yeah, I've got a bottle of that somewhere. Maybe we should do that one next. And Angela remembers that one of the perfumes was called Teatro della Scala. Okay, so, and Audrey has verified, I meant Clinique. Sunday Brain, sorry. No, I think you like wrappings if you haven't already smelt it. I will do a blotter update on this. It's really now going beautifully, beautifully into those soft, soft florals. This is a perfume. I just keep coming back to its name because it is perfectly named. It really is that starched, gorgeously crumpled white linen. You know, white linen has always got to be just a little bit crumpled for it to have that insouciant, elegant, chic, full of the sun, and you're walking through this gorgeous late spring, early summer garden on a day that is warm, but not too warm. It's not overpoweringly hot, and you're surrounded by this intoxicating aroma, and it causes you to slow down. It causes you to take more considered, deeper breaths, and it's also colourful. That's what I think makes it interesting in the realm of aldehydic florals, because Chanel No. 5 I don't think of as being a particularly holographically colourful scent, and No. 22 not at all. But this has got these iridescent colours in it. So, you're wearing the white linen, and then you're surrounded by the beautiful petals of all of these freesias and lilacs and hyacinths, etc. And those sharp, sharp, sharp colours that those sorts of flower petals possess. It's really great, really great. And I'd be interested to try its current formulation, although, as I say, this isn't a terribly old one. And I'm sure it's still in very good shape. Okay, so we are done. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching live, or if you're going to be watching this over the next few days, please be aware that on Wednesday, so what's that going to be? Wednesday the 27th of January, whatever date it is this coming Wednesday, a live interview with none other than Antoine Lee, creator of several of the most important scents for État Libre d'Orange, the more recent scents for Les Indémodables, and all of the scents from Eris, and many, many others. What's this flurry of comments all of a sudden? Flaconess, how funny that something that is called white smells colourful, I suppose. And Druba says, talking about Penhaligon's orange blossom for some reason. I'll have to go and read these comments back to myself. Okay, You be good. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye now.